This is the Louie T Network.
I'm ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Louie? Yeah.
Overtime! So we head to overtime.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome to Saturday Night Football Overtime. Chargers, Chiefs, AFC West family business. You know how the family do it. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business. And no one seems to handle AFC West family business quite like the City Chiefs as they destroy the Los Angeles Chargers on Saturday Night Football. I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't see this one coming. Chargers fans started to smell themselves, and you can always tell when a fan base is smelling themselves. You know what that is? That's us winning. That's how the Chargers fans were approaching every single week now, and you couldn't tell them nothing. You can't tell me nothing. You can't tell them nothing. Well, I tried to tell them. Who have you played on this win streak anyway? Let's take a look at the team, shall we? Browns, Redskins, Cowboys without Zeke Elliott or a field goal kicker? Who else is on that win streak anyway, guys? Who else is on that win streak? The Bills with Nathan Peterman? Come on. Come on. All right? It's not like you were beating the best of the best in this league, which the Chiefs, albeit they hit a rough patch in their season, they went toe-to-toe with the best the leagues had to offer, and they've held their own this season. Now, again, they hit a rough patch. They lost to the Giants, okay? They lost to the Raiders in this little struggle fest that they had, losing 5 straight games. They lost to the Jets. They lost to some teams they had no business losing to. I get it. But I tried to explain to Chargers fans, one, you're still the Chargers. Let's not forget that. Oh, you think you just forgot how to turn the football over? You're still the damn Chargers. That's one. Two, you can be run on. You can be run on. The difference between the Chargers in this 4-game winning streak and all the games prior was that they were up the last 4 games. So you know what that forced teams to do? Abandon the run. So you know what all of a sudden that allowed them to do? Pin their ears back and send Ingram and Bosa after the opposing team's quarterback. And it worked. And also what it also allowed them to do was not get gutted in the run game. Well, tonight, you got gutted in the run game because you weren't up the entire game. They showed the graphic. 4 minutes in the last 4 games, as long as you've been trailing, combined in the last 4 games. 4 minutes of game action. That means you've been dominating bad football teams, and they've had to abandon the run and strictly try to pass, and you've been able to take full advantage. Also helps when you don't turn the football over. But like I said, the Chargers haven't forgotten how to turn it over. Let's not act as if this team wasn't turning the football over at an alarming rate earlier in the season. They reverted back to that tonight. And I told you there's only so long you can get away with Aaron Eckler touching the football, okay? Tired of y'all trying to get by with these bums out there, trying to skate with these undrafted dudes that just come out of nowhere. You can get away with a few of them. You've been trying to get away with too many of these dudes over the years. You've been trying to sneak us for years. Dontrell Inmans, Tyrell Williams, Aaron Eckler. What's the little small chunky back that tore his ACL in the preseason last year or this year? The one that you snuck up on us? You know who I'm talking about. Too many of these damn dudes. Draft some real players. Anyway, enough of that. I said to my dad, and I actually said this on a program last week, a couple weeks ago and last week. I said, you know what's going to happen to the Chargers? And I feel bad because I've said this before. I actually think that talent-wise, outside of the couple of undrafted dudes they try to sneak on the roster, they're a really talented football team and probably the most talented team and maybe even the best team in that division when it's all said and done. From a talent standpoint, when you're talking elite upper echelon talent, they've got it. But I said, you know what's going to happen to them? They're going to, I use the basketball analogy, and I love this analogy when a team tries to come off the pace. So look, but that 0-4 start, what you effectively did is you dug yourself about a 23-point hole. And now we're down to the final, let's call it 7 minutes of the game. And all of a sudden, you want to put together a 21-2 run to cut it to 4. And you're like, man, we're back in this game, but you've expended so much energy to cut it to 4 that you're going to end up losing the game by 9. Hey, it was nice. It was a hell of a run. And you made it a ball game. But you don't have enough energy. You don't have enough in the tank after starting so slow to overcome that deficit. There's not enough energy. So you're gonna make this competitive. It's gonna be fun down the stretch. We're gonna all look and say, man, look at these Chargers making a furious comeback. It's not enough. And what happened tonight? It's not enough. Now the season's not over. Chiefs could go back into the tank, but they're not. They had their struggles this year. Andy Reid figured it out. I was pissed at Andy Reid because I said, you're getting too cute for your britches, man. You're getting too cute. See all these little gadgety plays? They got cute to you. They got fun. You started having too much fun and you forgot about winning. Winning, duh. That's the most important part. Gotta win. Not find creative ways to get Travis Kelce the football on shovel passes. Not try double reverse passes that get picked off. No. How about you go back to what won you your first 5 games of the season? Kareem Hunt rushing for 100 yards. That's what works. Not Kareem Hunt getting 13 carries for 17 yards. Not Kareem Hunt only touching the football a total of 15 times and not catching 2 or 3 passes out of the backfield. He needs to be the focal part of your offense because once he becomes the focal part of your offense, once he gets going, guess what then happens? Tyreek the Freak gets loose on play action fake because now they got to dedicate that 8 defender to the box. And all of a sudden now they're doing something they shouldn't do. One-on-one on the outside. Got to take full advantage. And you did. So, then it opens up the middle of the field for Travis Kelce. Then all the rest of those bench bums start contributing. Demarcus Robinsons and Albert Wilsons and all of those other guys, Demetrius Harris, all the rest of the bench bums, they come in and they start getting theirs. Let me get my 8. Let me get my 12. Let me get my 10. Let me get my 6. And then you sprinkle a little bit of Charkandrick West. Wake up, Mr. West, Mr. West. And all of a sudden, the Chiefs start getting you like whack-a-mole. You hit one, and another one raises his head. You hit that one, and then another one comes up. You hit that one, and then Alex Smith gets you for 8 on a rush. And it's just, God damn it, I don't have enough mallets to hit all the moles. That's the Chiefs' offense that at the beginning of the season was scoring 30 and 40 points, blowing teams out and looking dominant. Not the team that thought it was cute to go out and try to do double reverse passes and do 9 different ways of a shovel pass to Travis Kelce. Nah, F all that. It's back to the basics. Get the football to 27, and then you spread the football around judiciously. When you get that shot deep, you better not miss. You didn't tonight. And look, this defense isn't good in Kansas City. That's not something that you need to be excited about tonight. Look, you got turnovers. That's great. Great. In the playoffs, Phillip Rivers isn't throwing jump balls into double teams for you the entire game. You can actually play against teams like Tom Brady, like the Chiefs, or excuse me, like the Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger, who, and look, you may not make it out of the first round, just depending on who you get. If Baltimore gets that fifth seed, and I think they're going to, because I think they're going to finish 10-6, and if they get that fifth seed, which I think they're going to get, and you get the fourth seed, which I think you're going to get, and you run into Baltimore week 1, you might not get out of wild card weekend. You might not, but you got to get in first. Let's not count our eggs before they hatch. You got to win one more game, which I think you can beat Miami at home next week, but I've seen you drop some duds on us this year, okay? So it wouldn't surprise me if you had another meltdown and let a team come into your crib and beat you that's not supposed to beat you. You've done it before this season. But in any event, you're not out of the woods yet because I still think your defense is suspect. And Revis does come in and give you a little something, but your defense is still suspect. But you got pressure when you needed to get pressure tonight. Justin Houston with a big play on a 4th down to allow Ron Parker to get a pick. Great. Marcus Peters was outstanding. MP double deuce, the Kansas City thief. Marcus Peters was on his best behavior tonight. And when the guy is locked in and focused, he's a problem. He made plays tonight. Knocked away a football from Travis Benjamin. Boy, is Travis Benjamin soft. There was a critical 3rd down in this game where he just needs to turn up, be a tough guy, stick your head down, and get the 1st down. Nope. He wants to be soft and run laterally, and Marcus Peters tracked him down, slung him down, and then that turned into the final pick, or the second to last pick by Phillip Rivers, which pretty much put this game out of reach. It was still a 10-point game at that juncture. Plenty of time for Rivers to go down and create some magic. You need guys to make plays. Keenan Allen goes down in this game for the Chargers. God, I don't want to see that. I hope it's not serious. He got carted off. Anytime I see him on a cart, I think the worst. And that's why I'm hesitant to put him in my top list of receivers in the league, because I'm always waiting for that other shoe to drop. I'm always waiting for, at the end of a play, for Keenan Allen not to get up. And I hate to say that, but it's the honest to God truth. After every play, I say, Keenan, get up. Keenan, get up. Come on. Like, you remember Craig's dad on Friday when Craig got hit by Debo, and his dad, come on, Craig, get up. Come on, Craig. Come on, Craig, get up. Every time Keenan Allen has a play, come on, Keenan, get up. Come on, Keenan. Come on, Keenan, get up. And he get up, he starts smiling, and I said, that's my boy. He didn't get up. And that worries me. He had to be carted off. I hope it's minor. It may not benefit the Chargers this season, because I think after this loss, being down a game, and really 2 games to the Chargers, or Chiefs now, because now you need them to lose both of those games to finish out the season, and you got to win both of your games. Not out of the realm of possibility. They're at Denver in Week 17, but do you really want to ask Brock Osweiler to do anything for you? I wouldn't if I were you. And so if they don't beat Miami, and I think they're going to beat Miami next week, but if they don't beat Miami, do you really want to ask Brock Osweiler to have to do you a favor? That's not the guy that you want to be able to have to ask and hope that he gets it done for you. So you're pretty much cooked at this point. You needed this one. But in any event, welcome to the program. I'm your man, Louie T, here on a special edition of Saturday Night Football Overtime. This was a good ball game for about 3 quarters. Kind of got out of hand in the 4th quarter with all the turnovers and mistakes. Really sloppy play by the Chargers to finish up this game. The Eckler fumble, the 2 picks by Rivers to complete his night. It was it's a bad showing by a Chargers team that had come on strong of late. And honestly speaking, on that 4-game winning streak, the 2 games that preceded it, they could have easily won both of those games. At New England, at Jacksonville, a game against the Jaguars in which they should have won. They should have beat the Jaguars. Lost that game in overtime, had no business losing that game. So they could have easily had come into this game on a 5 or a 6-game winning streak, but that's the Chargers' way. They find and create ways to lose. Tonight, they didn't even allow it to be close. They made way too many mistakes on the road against a team that they struggle with. You just can't expect to win with the type of mistakes that they made in this game. We're going to start with the Chiefs in this game. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content in 2017 and beyond. We're changing the game. I want you to help us do that by simply hitting that subscribe button and becoming a member of the Louie T Network. I thought offensively, they pulled out the blueprint. So Andy Reid took the blueprint, he rolled it open, spread it out, and said, all right, what did we do in the 5-game win streak? And he looked at the blueprint and he says, oh, right here, Kareem Hunt, 20 or more touches, over 100 all-purpose yards. Should be simple enough to do, right? He said, I'll do you one better. If you give me over 20 touches tonight, I'll get you over 200 all-purpose yards. To me, that's where the biggest difference was in this game and a lot of the losses that the Chiefs have had of late. Last week, Kareem Hunt goes over 100 yards. They dominate the Raiders. It's not a coincidence, folks. It's really actually simple. You want to go to the Meadowlands and lose to the Giants and lose to the Jets? Kareem Hunt doesn't go over 100 yards. It's really simple for me. Now, you should have beat the Jets. You scored 31 points. The offense was explosive. You started out 14-0. Your defense was horrendous in that game, and they gave up 38. It doesn't matter. That's besides the point. If you would have scored 31 with Kareem Hunt controlling the pace of the game and running the football, you'd have beat the Jets. You wouldn't have gave them 900 possessions to go down and score 38 points. This is a Chiefs team that needs to control time of possession and pace. You want to go get in a track meet with somebody, you're asking to give up 37 and lose. That's not how this team is built. It's nice when you're scoring points, but guess what? You can give up just as many as you score. So if you want to win, the blueprint was already out in front of Andy Reid. He spread it out. He said, damn, Kareem Hunt needs to touch it. Okay, sounds good to me. And once he starts touching it, then you can get Tyreek Hill involved. Then you can get Travis Kelce involved. Then you can get Albert Wilson involved. Then you can get all the rest of these other complementary pieces involved. Alex is comfortable. We're not putting too much on his plate. When he needs to tuck it and run, he can. And then we can pull out one of these nice little speed option plays down by the end zone to get a touchdown. Then we can get cute to get a first down. Then we can start doing some different things. That's how it works. But it all starts for me with Kareem Hunt. So it was good to see them get back to the basics these last 2 weeks. And I thought that was the difference offensively. The offensive line must be given credit. They've struggled. You know, look, I say give Kareem Hunt the football, but in some of those games, it was 11 carries for 17 yards. It was 13 carries for 21 yards. It's not like they only gave it to him 7 times and he had 45 yards and then just stopped. The offensive line wasn't creating holes. He's running through contact, though, tonight, too. A lot of missed tackles by the Chargers. He was running through arm tackles. He was tough. He was the guy that we saw in the first 6-7 games of the season dominating this league, taking it by storm in his rookie season. He was that guy tonight. And a large part of the credit deserves to be given to this offensive line because they were phenomenal tonight. They moved the Chargers a lot of times off the line of scrimmage, created holes, and allowed him to get a head of steam, which allowed him to power through arm tackles and make plays. So you got to give credit to that offensive line as well for opening up a lot of those holes that Kareem Hunt was able to take full advantage of. On the defensive side of the football, Chris Jones, I thought, was a standout. When he's able to get pressure from the interior, Phillip Rivers isn't going anywhere. He's one of those guys, you know exactly where he's going to be. You know his address. You know exactly where he's going to be. And so I thought Chris Jones started off the night with some good pressure, got a sack, was able to get in Rivers' face, make him uncomfortable. And Rivers is just like any other quarterback in this league. I don't care how prolific you are. We saw Brady on Monday night versus the Dolphins get hit early and often, and what did that do to him? It sped his clock up. It made him make mistakes. It made him make some bad decisions and throws. He missed open receivers. It happens to the best of them in this league. And I thought they put some pressure on Rivers early. They made him uncomfortable, made him a little antsy, and he started to speed up the clock a little bit, made some ill-advised throws, and that's what some of that winning streak will do to you too as well. Oh, Tyrell's been open on his winning streak. I've been able to just chuck it up deep to him or to Keenan Allen, and they've been able to make plays. So I'm going to blindly throw into double coverage and just give my guy a chance to see if he can't win. And so he made some mistakes tonight, did Phillip Rivers. But credit this defense. Justin Houston with a big pressure on a 4th down that led to a pick. Marcus Peters with some great plays down the field. I thought Sorensen made some really good plays. One of them has to pick that pass off in the end zone on that throw by Rivers down the field. Someone's got to pick that off. Someone's got to come down with that football. but they were around the football. They were swarming. Ron Parker with a recovery of a fumble. Ron Parker with a pick. Guys made plays. MP with a strip that led to a Ron Parker recovery. MP with a couple picks. Guys were around the football making plays tonight. Kevin Pierre-Louis with a nice knockdown of a ball in zone coverage. They did a really good job of making it tough on the Chargers. And with all that being said, it was 10-6 at halftime. And the Chargers were able to get a stop, get the football, and take it right down the field and score and make it 13-10 in the third quarter. And it took resilience after the gut punch of the Gates, the OG 85 touchdown, to then march the football right back down the throats of the Chargers and get 7. Not settle for 3, get 7, and then turn around, get a turnover, and have a chance to get 7 more. Have your guard go false start, push you back, have the referees jerk you. That was a touchdown on the throw, on the off-schedule throw to Kareem Hunt. That was a touchdown. They got jerked there. Have to settle for a field goal, but not hold your head down, not pout, but go out and get another stop. And go out and force another turnover. And go out and get more points. And so I thought they turned it up, turned up the intensity, ratcheted that up on Phillip Rivers and his Chargers offense. And they showed a lot of perseverance because during that 5-game losing streak, some of those plays would have turned the tide of the game and they would have lost this game. They would have lost control of this game. That OG 85 touchdown, that would have been a gut punch that the Chiefs would not have been able to overcome during that 5-game losing streak. But instead, they went right back down the field and got the touchdown back, took the lead, and they never looked back in this game. And so, good. I thought the Chiefs showed intestinal fortitude on both offense and defense in this football game, creating the turnovers that helped them win this game, 4 of them to be exact, and really making it tough on the Chargers defensively by not settling for throwing the football 37 times, but rather let's pound them tonight. Let's be balanced. And it served them well as they were able to get the win 30-13. You go to the Chargers side of things, just too many mistakes. Too many mistakes in this game. I thought Phillip Rivers came out and he was too aggressive. He was over-aggressive early in this game. And I thought that set the tone and the tempo for this game. I thought that early on they were getting some good runs with Melvin Gordon III. And I thought that Phillip Rivers just needed to manage the game. And I thought he was trying to go out and win the game. It's like he felt like, I got us here with my play these last 4 games, and I'm going to be the one to take us over the top. And he just needed to let the game come to him. I thought he forced some throws early, and that ended up being the theme of the night. Him forcing throws into double coverage. And I didn't like his mindset early in this game. Instead of taking what was there, and the Chiefs were giving him a lot of stuff underneath. I mean, that play in the third quarter to Melvin Gordon III on a little simple, basically a check down, he ends up running for like 45, 50 yards. The Chiefs were giving that kind of stuff up all night. I mean, even the Travis Benjamin third down catch where he should have got the first, they were off by about 5 yards after. All he had to do was turn up and say, all right, I'm going to get hit. But I'm going to duck down. I'm going to get this first down. Nope, he went soft. He went limp. And we knew that's what he's about. But they were giving up that kind of space all night. And Rivers, instead of him taking what was there like he's done during this 4-game winning streak, he decided to play hero. He went gung-ho tonight. And I thought it really backfired on him and his team tonight. Loved the 2 timeouts, or the timeout right before the half by your head coach. That was a great timeout because it forced the Chiefs kicker, Harrison Butker, to have to kick the field goal a second time. He made the first one, missed the second one. So I can respect that, forcing them to do it again. And that saved you 3 points. And at that time, I knew Coons was going to get you. And, you know, it didn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but make your goddamn extra point, man. Come on. Dude, this is a big game. Stop that. It's not the time. But in any event, you know, you go to the second half, you get the touchdown, and after you take the lead, you had all the momentum in this game. Arrowhead was quiet. You're up 3. You got all the momentum. All you needed was your defense to get a stop. And you had a couple of third downs on that possession, and you just needed one, and you couldn't get it. Travis Kelce with a big catch on a third down on that possession. Hunt continued to run the football effectively. You let Alex Smith get into a rhythm, and you let him cap it off. And they got down there and they got to third down. And even if you would have don't let them get in the end zone. Force them to kick a field goal. Tie it up at 13, if anything. But you let them get 7, and it was from that point on that Phillip Rivers says, all right, I got to go win the game. I got to go make a play. And then he throws the big pick to Marcus Peters. And he runs it all the way back down. And again, forced throw, ill-advised, unnecessary. Just don't do it. There's no reason for it. Double coverage, no, don't do that. And it's those types of plays where you scratch your head, and for as good as Phillip Rivers has been down the stretch, he was awful tonight. Awful because he decided to take matters into his own hands instead of allowing the team, which that's who won during his winning streak. Contrary to Phillip Rivers' belief, this has been a team 4-game winning streak. 19-10, team win against the Browns. 30-13, team win versus the Redskins. Okay? 54-24, blowout of the Bills, team win over the Bills. Cowboys demolishing on Thanksgiving, team win over the Cowboys. Not a Phillip Rivers win. He didn't have to do that tonight. Tonight didn't require superhuman, heroic efforts from Phillip Rivers. They didn't need that from you. They just needed you to take care of the goddamn football. You didn't do that tonight. So you didn't give your team a chance. And shame on you. Shame on you. Because you're better than that. And you've been better than that this season. And for what reason, I don't know. Why tonight? Maybe the stage was too big. Maybe the light was too white hot. I don't know what it was. But you decided to go rogue tonight. You went rogue. You went off on a mission by yourself. You didn't take your teammates with you. You said, I got this one, fellas. Sit back. I'll take care of it. And you got destroyed. And in the process, you drug your team down with you. And I wasn't feeling that from Phillip Rivers tonight. As far as the defense is concerned, got to stop the run first. That's number one. Got to stop the run. Force Alex Smith to beat you. You didn't do that tonight. They got everything they could have asked for. $150 and some change for Mr. Hill. Or Hunt, excuse me, on the ground. And what are you doing leaving Casey Hayward one-on-one with Tyreek Hill anyway? What is the logic behind that? You think they weren't going to find that matchup? Do you think Alex Smith wasn't paying attention? Maybe we'll sneak them this time and try to get away with one. What are you doing? You think it's a smart idea to leave Casey Hayward on an island one-on-one with Tyreek Hill? You need to wash your face and get your mind right. It's not a good idea. It's not smart football. You know what you get for those? Deuces. Not smart. Not smart at all. But in any event, you made too many mistakes. Even after all of that, even after getting gutted on the ground, even after Phillip Rivers making mistakes early in the ball game, you had the lead at 13-10. You had opportunities. Get a stop on defense. Get a stop. Don't let them drive 75 yards in 11 plays and score a touchdown. Get a stop. Okay, so Phillip Rivers throws a boneheaded pick and they run it all the way down to like the 5. You get a gift on a false start that sends them back to the 6. It's 3rd and goal from the 6. You got to stop. Did you? No, I don't think you did, but okay. They gave you a stop. Offense, go get points. Don't turn it over again. Get points. How many times you going to ask the defense to go out and get stops? It's frustrating. Because, like I said, you came this far to give yourself a chance, and this is what you do with it. But I expected this tonight. I did. I didn't expect it to be 30-13, but I expected you to not be able to go into Arrowhead and win. It's been a house of horrors for you Hell, this Chiefs team in general, home, away, they've been a house of horrors for you. Arrowhead has been a house of horrors for you. So I didn't think tonight was going to be any different. Just because you were hot, that wasn't going to deter me. I told you the Chiefs were going to figure it out. They were going to right the ship because they had enough time. They built a big enough cushion, and nobody else in this division was any good, that they could figure it out. They'd have enough time to figure it out. And luckily enough for them, they did in enough time. So they force the turnovers. They run the football. They make the big plays. How many big plays for the Chargers tonight? Outside of the one catch and run by Melvin Gordon III, how many big plays tonight for the Chargers in this game? I don't remember many. Meanwhile, Kareem Hunt seemed to be racking up big plays left and right, and you let Tyreek Hill loose for a touchdown on a deep ball. They made the big plays. They forced the turnovers. They converted the third downs. They pushed the issue today. They controlled the tempo and pace. They dictated what was going to happen in this game, not the other way around, which is what the Chargers have been doing on this win streak. And so tonight, it was all Chargers all the time, 30-13, especially in the second half of this game, and really after the Chargers took the lead 13-10. 20 unanswered points by the Chiefs to run away and hide with this one, 30-13, to take a commanding 2-game lead in the AFC West Division. Chargers may be 7-7, Chiefs may be 8-6, but that's a season sweep, folks. That's 2 wins over the Chargers, which means if these two teams end up tied at the end of the season, tiebreaker goes to the Chiefs. So, in effect, this was a 2-game swing. 1 for the win, 1 for the sweep. And so you put yourself in a pretty tough position to try to make the postseason if you're the Chargers. Still an outside shot at the wild card as well. You know, not out of that. But if you think the Ravens are going to implode and lose to the Colts and lose to the Browns and lose to the Bengals, you're sadly mistaken. They may lose 1 of those 3 games. They're not going to lose 2 out of those 3 games. And Tennessee, all they need to do is win once more. That's it. And they'll have 9. And they're going to win at least 1 game, possibly 2 more. So chances of getting in now are slim and none for the Chargers. And it's a valiant effort, though. Valiant effort. And we'll see what happens. But tough way to go down if you're the Chargers after making such a run to get to 7-6 and give yourself a shot. Everything you did the last 2 months built you up to this game right here, and you played arguably one of your worst games of the season. So that stinks. But in any event, let's get to the comments. All right. Let's get all the way to the top. Mondraw says, I had both Melvin Gordon and Kareem Hunt in my fantasy team. Hashtag happy. That's a nice start to your week. Vincent Cole says, Anthony Lynn low-key looks like some movie star. I think Idris Elba. A little bit. I can see that a little bit. KT, the Southern Gent, 22 says, what it do? What it do, man? It's good with you. John Niner says, Jimmy G, big game tomorrow. We'll see. He also says, Chiefs look really good on offense and defense. Played great tonight. I think the defense is a little misleading. Got turnovers tonight, but I still think that's not a good unit. They can be taken advantage of, but they did play well tonight. Credit must be given. KT, the Southern Gent, says, looking forward to your draft prospects one-on-one videos. Might be a little disappointed this year. I got some information on that. I'll tell you later on down the line. Not tonight, but as we get closer to those videos. But you're probably going to be upset at me, but we'll see what happens. I may change my mind. We'll find out. John Niner says, Lions versus Bears game put me to sleep. What a boring game. Did you expect anything other than what you got? I don't know why you didn't. I knew it was going to be that kind of game. Vincent Cole says, during the game, they are hyping up about next Saturday night's Colts versus Ravens. And I'm like, oh my God, Z's. Why are they doing this? Like, I don't know why. I legit thought that next week was Packers-Vikings for some reason. Is it another 2-pack of games next Saturday night? And is Vikings and Packers the nightcap? I don't know if it is or not. Bottom line is, who the hell cares about Colts-Ravens? Absolute. After what we just saw with the Colts on Thursday, do you think we want an encore on Saturday night? I'm going to do the exact same thing I did on Bears-Lions. I'm going to record the game, and I'm not coming home until it's over. I'm going to watch the game, speed watch, which means you skim it, you watch plays, you fast forward through the snaps, pretty much like what the NFL does for you when they cut up the games on Game Pass. I just fast forward through all the minutia, get to the actual snap, watch it, and then move on to the next one. I don't give a damn about that game. Who cares? Probably going to be another ass whooping this time. The Ravens are going to destroy them. I don't know. That's ridiculous. Anyway, Atlas says, it almost happened, Lou, but Keenan Allen finally got injured. The football universe's balance is maintained. Don't do that. Don't say that. I was hoping he made it through the whole season, man. We'll see what happens, but, man, that was, I hate seeing him get hurt. I hope it's not serious. KT, the Southern gent, says, Chargers got exposed, but Ingram and Bosa are still nice pass rush tandem, but they need help. He also says, the Drew Brees curse strikes again. I didn't know there was a curse there. I did not. Cloud says, damn, I should have listened to Chargers fans, LOL. They said the Chargers might find a way to screw this up. I haven't heard one Chargers fan say that. I've been talking to the wrong Chargers fans then, because every Chargers fan I talked to was 10,000% confident in their ability to go in and win this game. They were confident in Anthony Lynn's ability to get them this win because he's somehow different. And he may be different. And I'm rooting for Anthony Lynn, okay? Always root for the brothers when they get an opportunity to be your head coach. But they somehow told me he's different than Mike McCoy, which I haven't seen that, really. But, okay, you tell me he's different. I'm not following the team as closely as you are. If you see a difference, if you feel it's different, okay. I just see the results on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays, and Saturdays now, and it looks the same to me. You know, this looks turnovers, bad play, finding ways to lose close games earlier in the season. It all looked like Mike McCoy to me. So, whatever. FBG Tony says, good analogy with the basketball comparison, bro. I mean, I said it before, and I told my dad because he thought the Chargers were going to win this game, and I said, they're not going to win, and it's similar to a team that digs themselves a hole and tries to come back, and they cut it to 4, and then they ultimately lose the game by 9 or 11, and you're like, damn. It was a nice little run, though. John Niner says, Steelers versus Pats going to be lit. It's going to be a great game. Nolan Pratt says, old man Rivers is done. Time for him to retire. I mean, I'm not going to allow one game to force me to say something crazy. I mean, the dude was playing outstanding football before this game. So to think that just one game means he's done, I won't go that far. But, excuse me, he was pretty disappointing tonight. Thought he went rogue and tried to win it on his own. Atlas says, Chargers failing earlier and then roaring back only to just miss the playoffs is typical Chargers season, man. Yep, sounds about right. And that's why I said this feels, Anthony Lynn's Chargers feel no different to me than Mike McCoy's Chargers. But again, Chargers fans will explain to me that it is different. And I'll listen because, again, I'm not a Chargers fan. So if you tell me it's different, then I'll take your word for it. It's different. I'm just telling you from afar, watching it, it looks the same to me. That's all. Cloud says, these football players that keep getting injured just need to retire. It's like their bodies keep telling them they can't sustain this type of play. No one's ever going to say, I can't play. If physically their doctors tell them they can go, and they feel like they can go, and they still have the mentality and the spirit to want to play, they're not going to stop playing. And if that were the case, then Thomas Davis of the Carolina Panthers, who tore the same ACL 3 times in a row, he would have quit. But you know what he said? I've been repaired again. Doctors tell me I'm fine. I feel fine, and I want to play. So I'm going to keep playing. He hasn't torn it since. Knock on wood. And he's been one of the best linebackers in the league for the last 4 or 5 years. So, I mean, again, who are we to tell someone, no, your body is telling you. Now, concussions, totally different story and scenario, totally different angle that we're approaching it from. When you're talking about ACLs and all that stuff, Achilles, who are we to tell these guys to shut it down? You're done. Your body can't sustain it. Look, keep giving it a run until you can't anymore. John Niner says, yeah, I've never seen so many injuries as this year. My dad said the same thing. And at first I said, this probably isn't any different, but we've seen a ton of injuries. And I think the difference for me this year has been, it's been big name players. You know, and it seems like certain teams have been hit harder than others, and they've been ravished. Not spread out amongst the league, you know. So it's been a lot of injuries, though. John Niner says, I see 3 NFC South teams making the playoffs. I've been denying it for the longest. I don't think I can deny it any longer. I think I agree with you. Reese says, Chargers gonna Charger. Yeah, I guess that's the best way to put it. Chargers are gonna Charger. Vincent Cole says, I heard that there's a Chiefs offensive lineman that goes to medical school during the offseason. Damn, shout out to him. Huge respect. I don't know who that is, but I think sometimes people think football players aren't smart or they don't have lives outside of football. I think a lot of fans don't think football players have lives outside of football. Like when they're not playing well and they see them, you know, doing a rap video or doing a commercial, well, he needs to be working on his technique, not doing fill in the blank. And I'm like, bro, you do know that they have an off season, they have off time, they can do whatever they want with their time. Like, it's just like you at a job. Your performance may not be the greatest at work, but when you clock out of work and you're off the clock, you're not going home doing more work shit. You're like, man, I'm off the clock. Damn work. Let's go do something fun. Let me go do something that's a hobby, or let me go work on something else that I like to do. I'm not doing more work shit and I'm not getting paid for it. Same thing with these football players. They're humans just like us. Football is a job, just like we have jobs. It's just that there's a lot more dangerous, but also fun at the same time. But for some reason, we think that these guys are like robots, that they're supposed to do football 24/7, 365 days a year. And yeah, he's going to medical school. That's awesome. Vincent Cole also says, hey, I've seen people comparing Baker Mayfield to Russell Wilson. Do you see him develop to a player like Wilson? I don't know. I can't. Look, Russell Wilson is the model quarterback for an NFL franchise on and off the field. Baker Mayfield right now, if you're just strictly talking from an on-field perspective, then he's got a little bit of that in him, yes. Similar size, escapability. Russell, I think, is a lot more tougher to bring down, harder to track. I think Russell's a better athlete than Baker Mayfield is. I think Russell's got a stronger arm than Baker Mayfield does. That being said, though, I think Baker Mayfield is a really good football player with some potential. I just worry about his character. That's the only thing I worry about. John Niner says, Chiefs O-line dominated the game. They did. They dominated the line of scrimmage, and they dominated the game for sure. Slip Ammo says, if you were to look at all the QB stats on the year with no names attached to them, chances are you choose Alex Smith's numbers as the best. I mean, he was playing a hell of a season up until they started struggling. But Alex Smith, remember, he was the MVP of the first half of the season. That was Alex Smith. A lot of people forget that because they started losing games. Slip also says, Rivers has struggled historically in Kansas City. Yes, he has. Jay Orion says, Chargers fans was feeling themselves, LOL. They was talking smack. Yeah, they were. Big time. I mean, at least the ones I encountered. You may have talked to some that were a little bit more reserved and knew that they struggled in Kansas City and knew this was going to be a tough game. But all the Chargers fans I talked to, and none of them are here. Obviously, you know why they're not here. Had they won, this thing would have been flooded with Chargers fans. But they're a little disappointed in their play tonight, but they were all confident that they were going to go to Arrowhead and win. KT, the Southern gent, says, do you see Buffalo holding on to the 6th seed? I don't. No, I don't. Because I think they're going to lose a game in there somewhere. And they got to go to New England, if I'm not mistaken, once more. They already lost to New England once. They've got New England again. And they're not going to win that game. And I don't see Baltimore losing again this season. So I think that's what's going to doom Buffalo. Hopefully they do what they always do to Miami, and that's beat them up this week to give themselves a chance. But I could see them losing at least one more. FBG Tony says, Rivers thought they running it down their throats. I won't have the ball so long. I got to make plays or we're screwed. Maybe that was his mentality. It was that, you know, they're eating up time of possession. They're shortening the game, limiting the amount of times I'm going to have to touch the football. That wasn't even the case early in the game, and he was forcing it. So before that even became an issue, he was already forcing a rock. JCamman99 says, I'm not doing so hot. 1 of 3 games so far. I picked some odd ones on Sunday in an attempt to pass Travis B and MJ. See, I did the same thing last week, so I can't fault you for that. But I actually believed in the ones that I picked. If you believe in the odd ones you picked, I don't have a problem with it. If you pick them just for the sake of trying to be different so that you can catch up or pass, then you're going to fall further behind. So hopefully they work out for you if they benefit me. If they don't benefit me, then I can't hope that they work out for you. I'm sorry. J. Cam Man also says, as a Bills fan, I needed to realistically root for the Chargers, but I had Kareem Hunt on my fantasy team, so I was divided. A Chargers win doesn't equal Bills playoffs. Look, this is why I don't play fantasy football, because it forces you to do unethical things. I'm a man of principle, and I stand on my principles. I will fall on my sword 10 times out of 10 before I root for a guy that I don't like or I root for a team that I absolutely abhor, because I need fantasy points. Because anything that I play, I want to win at it. I am a whore for winning. Yes, I am that. I hate losing. And so if I'm playing fantasy, you're going to ask me to do unethical things that I'm just not willing to do. So that's the dilemma right there, like my man J. Cam Man just rolled into. And just imagine if he's got Kareem Hunt and they're playing against his Bills, and he's got to root for Kareem Hunt because he's in the playoffs to perform well against his Bills, but hope that his Bills still get the win, which you're asking for too much, because if Kareem Hunt has a great game, most likely that's going to result in the Bills' loss. So I can't pull myself to do that. Anyway, excuse me. Hey, Craig, what's going on, man? I didn't think I would see you tonight. I'm really excited. Craig showed up. J. Cam Man says, I don't think the Bills will win this weekend. I think the Dolphins will finish us off. This entire season has just been like every other season. It's depressing. You usually beat the Dolphins, especially at home. Got confidence that you'll do that. What's up, Craig? I'm glad to see you, man. He says, we were exposed. Need to go D-tackle, middle linebacker, and QB this offseason. Shaking my head. He says, you can tell what kind of game the Chargers are going to have by the outcome of the first chance they have at gaining momentum. See the muff punt. They had no business not. Yeah, but I'm going to tell you what, though. That's a good point you bring up. I meant to bring that up earlier when I was breaking down the game. That was a great job by Demetrius Harris of pushing the hell out of one of those guys that had a chance to recover the ball. He messed up that whole recovery with that push. And so you would have recovered that. But he pushed him. He knocked him into the other Charger guy that was going to have a chance. And then he didn't fall on the ball correctly. It squirted out, and the Chiefs ended up with it. So, but you're right. That somehow, some way should have ended up being a recovery for the Chargers. Reese says, all Antonio Gates does is score touchdowns. He's 55, but he's still the shit. And OG85 still know how to get open on the shake route, man. You say what you want. He still can get open on the shake route. FBG Tony says, Rivers to DC? Nah. We not one player away, man. We need to start rebuilding for the future. Craig Smith says, I love Rivers, but this is why we need to draft his successor. Under duress, he always reverts back to Chuck and Duck, hero ball Phil. That's exactly the perfect way to describe Phillip Rivers' performance tonight. Chuck and Duck, Phillip Rivers, hero ball Phil. Yep. Chuck and Duck, hero ball Phil. That, in essence, is the 6 words to describe Phillip Rivers tonight. Chuck and Duck, hero ball Phil. Yep. Reese says, Terrell Austin deserves a head coaching job. He's got those boys playing out of their minds in Detroit. I've always loved Terrell Austin. If there's one guy in the league that I want to see get an opportunity to be a head coach, it's Terrell Austin. So I agree with you. KT, the Southern Gent, says, man, don't take away the draft prospect show. That's what made me subscribe. Hashtag streets need that. Waiting on addition to drop like 99 DJ Clue. K-Slade mixtape. I'm not taking it away, but I'm a elaborate on that later. I might have to find a way to incorporate it so that people like yourself can still have access to it. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Jerafel Design says the Chargers go on a streak, look like a dangerous team, then go and do this when it really matters. I mean, like I said, I saw it coming. I didn't know it was going to be this bad, but I didn't think they were going to get it done tonight. John Niner says Jerry Rice was always working because he was scared of losing his job. Same thing can be said of Tom Brady. It's amazing when you hear Brady talk. He's always afraid of losing his job, as if someone's going to take his job. You're just the best ever. That's it. But when he was out on that 4-game suspension, and remember Jimmy Garoppolo was playing well the first 2 games, and they won them, he got nervous. He was like, yo, I need to hurry up and come back. Like, Tom Brady is just as insecure as the next man. It's crazy. Reese says, Colts versus Ravens. Boring and boringer. Really? Billy Joe Saunders? Say it ain't so. Damn, boy. David Lemieux probably never recovered from that ass whooping he got from Triple G. That's ridiculous. Not Billy Joe Saunders. And I'm not saying Billy Joe's garbage, but David Lemieux at one point had the highest knockout rate of any middleweight not named Triple G. What are you doing losing to Billy Joe Saunders? Anyway. Nolan Pratt says Baker Mayfield or Lamar Jackson. Both have a low floor, high ceiling to me. I'm scarred because of Robert Griffin III. So I would probably take Baker Mayfield. I don't like either one of them. I got to watch more tape on both of them, but I don't like either one of them. I've seen them play live enough to know what their games are about, but I still need to go back and scout them, sit down and watch exactly what they're doing, going through progressions. Are they reading the field? Are they one-read quarterbacks? So forth and so forth. Deshaun Watson was a one-read quarterback coming into the league, and look what he was doing. So if you simplify things, put them in some positions to succeed, guys can have an impact right away. But I'm scarred by Robert Griffin III, so Lamar Jackson would be a turnoff to me. And Baker Mayfield, I have my doubts about him. But a lot of people love Baker Mayfield. He's gaining a lot of steam amongst fans. I don't know if he's gaining that same amount of steam amongst GMs, scouts, and people in the know in the NFL. John Niner says, I think Baker Mayfield could be the best quarterback still in the draft. We'll see. Jazzy E says, Saints a good fit for Baker Mayfield. What you think? I mean, I guess because of the correlation of Breeze and the height. But I don't know about that. But, you know, we'll see. They've done a great job of protecting a smaller quarterback for all these years. If anyone would know what to do with a guy that was undersized, it'd be the New Orleans Saints. All right. Let's see, KT, the Southern Gent says, my bad, better receiver prospect in next year's draft, Sutton, Kane, or Washington. I'd have to watch them, to be honest with you. I'm not a Deion Kane guy, so I would take him out right now.
it'd be between Sutton and Washington. I'd have to watch those guys, though. It's not going to be a really good receiver class. There's also a dude out of Memphis that's supposed to be really good as well. So this isn't a strong wide receiver class, though. John Niner says, "Yeah, I'm done with fantasy because I refuse to root against my rivals." You mean root for? Okay, I see you corrected that. J Cam Man says, "To be clear, I always root for my Bills versus my own fantasy team." Okay, I'm glad you established that. You know, some people, you never know where their allegiance lies. You know, so you never know. Reese says, "I hate fantasy football. I think it's a bullshit way to watch football. It's a slap in the face to the game. Football doesn't need improving. It's already amazing." I agree, but it's a way to get people. You can't imagine how many people I talk to that don't know football, but they have a fantasy football team. I had a guy that every time he would see me at work, he knows I do a football show, so he would ask me for advice. He's like, who should I start? Should I start Adrian Peterson or Arian Foster? He said, or Arian Rodgers. And I'm like, one, they don't play the same position, and two, it's Aaron Rodgers, not Arian Rodgers. And every time he would see me, he would still call him Arian Rodgers. And you can tell he doesn't watch football. He knows fantasy, though. And that's what the NFL wants. They want to suck in the casual fan, the guy that on most Sundays doesn't give a damn about football, but because of fantasy, he cares now. So there's a place for fantasy, I guess, if it helps expand football, even if it means whoring and pimping yourself out to people that don't give a damn about the game. It's still more eyeballs. It's still more revenue. They're going to sign up for that 7 times out of 7. Craig Smith says, "Not letting myself get this high again, bro. I know better." I'm glad, because you know you was on one, Craig. And I had to eat my crow last week. You was on one, though. You was on one. You really thought that this was different. I don't know why. And I could tell you from afar that it wasn't different, but as a fan, you want to believe. But you should always take my approach. And I've given you advice on this already, because as a Redskins fan, we know not to ever get too high, because there's a low coming. So you got to brace yourself for that. Got to stay medium. Nothing is as good as it seems. Nothing is as bad as it seems. Somewhere in between, reality falls. That's what a wise man once told me. It's pretty damn good advice. FBG Tony says, "Fields was wilding out there trying to be an anime hero and shit. Why the F does he always play this superhero BS? Damn fool, he is straight pitiful." I'm not going to kill Fields like that. That's my boy, but Fields was he was on one tonight. JCam99 says, "Do you think the Chargers will get the wild card, though? If they play the Jets and the Raiders, feel like they'll get the 6th seed." Nah, they're done. Because what you're doing right now is you're forgetting that they need help. They can win both of those games and still not get in. Because all the Chiefs have to do is win one game. One game, that's it. One game. And a loss like this, you don't know what it does to their psyche. The Jets with Bryce Petty are going to stink. So they should beat them, and they should be able to beat the Raiders, but you just never know. This loss could be such a critical and damaging loss to them that they could go and lose to the Jets next week. They shouldn't. The Jets aren't good with Bryce Petty at quarterback, but you never know how these things go. Jazzy E says, "Yeah, your off-season work is what had me subscribe years ago, and the Prospects 101 is what made me a fan of you. Now blown away too much to see what you really do." I'm glad I was able to suck you in, because now I got you, that's the point. I tell people all the time the off-season is just as busy, if not even more busier, than the actual regular season itself. Ree says, "Brett Favre." Here we go with Ree and Brett Favre. His man crush was the same way, Lou. He refused to take a rep off in practice or a game. He was scared of losing his job just like Brady. I guess great players think alike. You've got to have that mindset. If you think you've arrived and that you're better than the next man and you don't have to work as hard, that's when you start to see your play decrease. So You got to have that mindset. FBG Tony says, thoughts on the amount of blowouts this season? It's like 25 or 35% of the games are obliterations. LOL. It's ridiculous. I don't really know what to make of it. I feel like we've had a lot more games that weren't close, but we've had our fair share of close games this year as well. So, you know. Craig Smith says, and just like that, after one game, I am again a jaded Chargers fan. So tired of my squad burning me. I've been there, Craig. I know the feeling, man. I know it. And that's why you can't let them suck you in like this. You've got to set boundaries. And you've got to make sure that they don't cross and you don't cross. Because if one of you crosses the line, someone's going to get hurt. You or them. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be you. So you've got to know. Even though we're playing well, something bad is about, at least tell yourself that. Mentally. You should be wired already to think something bad's about to happen. So when it does, you can say, I knew this was going to happen. Now in the back of your mind, you're hoping you're wrong. And you want to be surprised when something doesn't happen bad. And you actually do win. But in the event that something does go awry, and generally with your team, that is the case, you need to be mentally prepared for that. So, yeah. Dark Sealer 1995 says, the Chiefs are pretenders. The Chargers were beating bad teams and got away with it. The Chiefs' offense was still bad. It's just that they had great field position from the turnovers. I disagree. The Chiefs' offense isn't the problem this year. That's not the Chiefs' defense is the problem this year, not the offense. Offense is fine. Defense is the problem. The defense created turnovers tonight. That was the difference in the game. But the offense, they're fine. They've been scoring points this year. They scored 31 against the Jets a couple of weeks ago, lost because they gave up 38. It's not the offense, it's the defense. KT the Southern Gent says, Arden Key or Sam Hubbard, which is a better player for the Saints? Arden Key to me looks like more of a fit for the Saints. Sam Hubbard to me is more of a base 4-3 end. I'd like to see the Saints get a little bit more speed off the edge of their 3-4 front. Dark Sealer says, Adrian Peterson is done in the NFL. Man looked washed this year, and he's old for a running back. I don't see a team that needs him at all. We'll see. We will see. He doesn't think he's done. As we saw in the offseason, all it takes is one. Reese says, I hope to see the draft prospects one-on-one series, Lou. But I'll support you whatever you do. Hashtag PamMon. Proficient at many, master of none. Dark Sealer 1995 says the whole organization has failed, but do you think that if Breeze stayed with the Chargers, they would have won a Super Bowl by now? Hard to say. Hard to say. People love playing that game. If the Chargers had drafted Eli Manning and kept him instead of trading him off to the Giants, and Drew Brees had went to the Giants, or Phillip Rivers had stayed with the Giants, would Phillip Rivers have Super Bowl titles? I don't know. I can't say. I generally don't play that game. It's impossible to know. Nolan Pratt says, Lou, who are your favorite QBs of all time? Mine personally, Peyton Manning. I've loved his preparation, the cerebral way of playing. Favorite quarterback to watch? Of all time, it'd probably be. There's a difference between favorite to watch and favorite just overall. Favorite to watch would be somebody like Vic in his prime. Running around, making plays. He was exciting. But if you're just talking about overall, it'd probably be, Manning, Brady, one of those types of guys, for sure. Marino, Elway, those guys, because they were so good for so long. But if you're talking exciting brand of football, then yeah, it'd be Vic, Randall Cunningham, One of those types of guys when they were in their primes. Jason Field says, can the Chiefs do anything in the playoffs? Is impending loss coming? I think a loss is coming, yeah. I don't like any matchup for them in the first round other than Tennessee. I think they could beat Tennessee. Tennessee's struggling right now. But if they were to land a first-round date with Baltimore, I don't like that matchup at all for the Chiefs. As a matter of fact, anybody but Tennessee, and I think it's a loss in the first round. So we'll see how it goes. KT, the Southern gent, says, I don't trust USC quarterback. Seen the movie before, i.e. Mark Sanchez, Castle, JD, Booty. Yeah, Sam Darnold. I do that with, different positions in different schools. Don't trust certain players from certain schools at certain positions. For me, USC, I was like, don't trust USC wide receivers. They generally come in the league and don't do much of anything. But before his injury, Juju Smith-Schuster was playing some really good football. So he was kind of dispelling that a little bit. I also was like, before, Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr., don't go to LSU for a receiver. And I know my man Craig Smith can attest to this. Craig Buster Davis. My man Reed, who's up here tonight, can tell you about Michael Clayton. I mean, don't go to LSU. And Michael Clayton had a phenomenal rookie season. But don't go to LSU for a receiver. But they've changed the fortunes of their program as well as far as that's concerned. So Jarrell Fell Design says, who are your top 3 linebacker prospects if you have them? I don't know. Like, right now, I'm so entrenched in the NFL season. Can't tell you anything about draft prospects right now because I'm not on that right now. Once I go full bore into that, then I'm in that. But I'm not in that right now. I'm still in the season because the season's still going on. And we're at a critical point in the season. So we'll see what happens. Dark Seal 1995 says, do you think Devin Hester is a Hall of Famer? Yep. He's a Hall of Famer. He's gonna get in. No doubt about it. Reby says, what's going on, Reby? Didn't expect to see you up this late. I play on my brother's league, but I don't follow the general rules because of what you said. Never pick anyone on Dallas, LOL. I have like 6 Eagles on my team in the playoffs this year. Well, you know what? It benefited you this year because your team has been killing it. So those 6 players probably have helped you get to the playoffs and have given you a shot to win. But, yeah, I mean, if I played in fantasy, which I probably never will, I'd be somewhat like that. Really biased, not putting myself in any compromising positions. But, again, I want to win. So, as much as I want to just load up on a bunch of Redskins, if they suck, that's not conducive to winning. It's not a good look. So, that's the dilemma that fantasy football puts you in a lot of times, which I can't allow myself to do that. Anyway, good to hear from you, Reby. BFG Tony says, my dad has been so mad about the Skins that he denounced the Skins for a year due to frustration. Hey, tell your dad to chill, man. Tell Pops to chill. Tones, it was so hard for him to do so. He's so depressed about how we've been playing. It's rough, but we've seen worse than this, though, Tones. Tell Pops it's okay, man. Chill. John Niner says, do you think the 49ers can be a playoff team next year? And should we go after Allen Robinson in free agency? You might have to go after some kind of receiver in free agency to go alongside Pierre Garçon. I don't know if you can be a playoff team. You're asking a lot in year 2. First of all, you got to make sure Jimmy Garoppolo's the guy, and then you got to re-sign him. Second of all, you got to acquire a ton more talent. And then you got to get it to all gel and mesh together. And then you got to play football games. And then you got to learn how to win. It's a lot. Hard to really say. I don't see it being the case though. KT the Southern gent says, for real, at first I was nervous when my Saints took Lattimore, but after watching the prospects video and watching highlights, I calmed down. Great work, Lou. No, I knew Lattimore was legit. And even though he didn't have a lot of experience at OSU, the dude was legit. And if he could just stay healthy, I knew he was going to be a problem in the league. And he's been every bit of what I thought he would be, and maybe even then some thus far in his career. John Niner says, when Titans lose to my Niners tomorrow, are the Titans out of the playoff picture? No, they're not. If they lose tomorrow to your 49ers, they'd be 8-6. And yeah, they would be in danger of falling out of the postseason altogether. I don't think any other teams, maybe the Baltimore Ravens. Nope. They beat the Ravens, so they would still hold the tiebreaker over the Ravens. So they'd still be in. But they'd be treading and skating on thin ice. They lose to you. They can't afford a loss tomorrow. KT, the Southern Gent, says, who are your rookies of the year on offense and defense? Defense, it's a no-brainer for me. It's Marshawn Lattimore. On offense, it's a no-brainer for me. It's Alvin Kamara. What does that tell you about the Saints draft? That both rookies of the year are on their football team. Tells you all you need to know about what Mickey Loomis and company did with that draft, which was just phenomenal in 2017. Craig Smith says, nor do you trust receivers named Mike Williams. I'm starting to believe that's actually starting to look true, but I'm not going to kill Mike Williams yet. Rookie season, dealt with injuries. We'll see if he can bounce back in year 2. Craig Smith says, my Chargers didn't get that note. John Niner says, is Frank Gore a Hall of Famer? Yes, he is. If Curtis Martin is a Hall of Famer, Frank Gore is a Hall of Famer. So, yes, he's a Hall of Famer. All right. Jason Field says, don't underestimate the Jags for the number 1 or to the seed just to need 2 losses from the Pats or Steelers. Not underestimating the Jags, but they've never been here before. It's a lot to ask a team. They play good enough defense to make some noise in the playoffs, but they've never been there before. You're talking battle-tested teams in the Patriots and Steelers. It's a different level of football come playoff time. I wouldn't trust a team like Jacksonville to be able to beat the likes of Pittsburgh nor New England. Reed says, I have to find a prospect I really like and keep saying his name so the Bucks get him. Remember Chris Godwin last year? Yeah, I remember it. You said his name a million times, and voila, your team drafted him. Craig Smith says, tried fantasy once and never played again for the same reason as you, LOL. Whole team full of lightning bolts. And KT the Southern Jet says, I live in Baton Rouge. I know all too well about LSU. Hate that school like you hate the Cowgirls, LOL. I hear you. Dark Taylor 1995 says, do you see the Browns ever turning it around, or do they need to go? Yeah, they can turn it around. They got a ton of draft picks this year. They got a lot of talent on their roster. Just got to find the right quarterback. If Kaiser's that guy and they can grow with him, he's actually played pretty well down the stretch. We'll see what happens, but they've got a ton of draft picks, ton of cap space, got talent on the roster already. They can turn it around really quickly. Reeby says, it must have been meant tonight. I missed something, but from what I'm getting, you stopping the draft prospects. You know I need you, man. You know I don't watch college. I need you. I'm not stopping it, but I was doing something different with it this year. But we'll talk about that later. I mean, you guys are making me kind of waffle a little bit. I'll figure out what I'm gonna do. John Perez says, Offset, did you get to see Melo's return to MSG? No, but I heard he got a standing OV and they gave him a video tribute before the game. And they lost. So that's a perfect storm right there. FBG Tony says, on John Niner's point from earlier, 2018 6-10, 2019 8-8, 2020 11-5, they would be lit in time. Give them time. We'll see. John Perez says, should Mitchell Trubisky go to the Pro Bowl? No. Why would you ask that? John Niner says, this year's running back class is really impressive with Dalvin Cook, Kamara, Hunt, Fournette. Yep. And don't forget Christian McCaffrey as well. Eagle Speed says, thought Andy Reid wouldn't lose a game like this. And he didn't. Jason Field says, if Jags get a quarterback like Kirk Cousins and some postseason experience, they will be Super Bowl favorites. We'll see. That defense is legit. They've got talent. So Reed says, I agree with you. Lattimore and Kamara and Lou. Makes me sick to admit it, but makes me want to puke. They're good though. They're really good. Dark Sealer says, I want Louie T on NFL Network, scouting prospects, LOL. Go to you for everything sports related. I appreciate that, man. I really do. And with that said, time to go. It's going to do it for your man Louie T here on Saturday Night Football Overtime. Chiefs get the big win over the Chargers, 30-13. Get to 8-6, drop the Chargers to 500 at 7-7. And for all intents and purposes, have really put a stranglehold on the AFC West division. A single win out of their final 2 games of the season will clinch the division for the Chiefs, or simply having the Raiders and the Chiefs lose, or Chargers, excuse me, lose just one more game will do that as well. In any event, big win for the Chiefs in a game that they had to have. They go out and play the brand of football that allowed them to start this season off at 5-0 and ultimately get to 6-1 before imploding. So big win for them. That's 2 straight now after 5 straight losses, 2 straight wins for the Chiefs as they look to get back on their horse in time for the playoffs. And no time is a better time than playoff time to be playing your best football. Chiefs look to be getting back to that at the right time as they force 4 turnovers of the Chargers. Kareem Hunt over 200 all-purpose yards. Big play from Tyreek Hill in the pass game. They run away with this one 30-13. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we covered all here on the Louie T Network. You guys enjoy the rest of your night. You know I will. I will see you tomorrow. Ton of football, and it's going to be a great day. The bad man's back in Carolina. Patriots, Steelers. Oh, my. That's just the tip of the iceberg. What about Seattle and Los Angeles Rams? That could be for the division. Similar to this game. Huge playoff implications. A lot of good games. You know, we'll break them down here on the Louie T Network. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Take care. And thanks for watching.